So today we will talk about Aster versus Hyperliquid. This is by far the most popular crypto right now. A lot of people are saying that this is the next big thing that is going to flip Hyperliquid, and Binance is all in. Now, I want to put my stance here up front and what I'm currently holding and really what I think about these types of projects overall up front before we even start. So you guys know that I haven't been the biggest fan of Hyperliquid because it's an exchange coin. That's all it is. And in the same fashion, I'm not the biggest long-term believer in Aster either. It's the exact same playbook as Hyperliquid, where they heavily control the supply and it trades on their order book. They will be able to do a lot of the same flywheel effects like buyback and burns and points program where a lot of traders can come in. And because they're backed by Binance, Binance is basically the only holder of this, it should work out. But I don't think any of these projects should be seen as a true decentralized crypto for long-term holding. So upfront with you guys about that. These are exchange coins, just like your BNB, just like OKX coin, crypto.com coin, BitGet token, KuCoin shares, whatever. You've seen a billion of these. Okay, so I don't think these are anything special after the bull run ends. However, today, I think what's most important is, especially if you watch our channel, we're here to make money. And especially in this case of the bull run, we're here to bet on which narrative is the most popular and which narrative leaders can go up more in this bull run. So in that front, I think it is worth comparing the current platforms of Aster versus Hyperliquid, which one is smoother, which one has higher volume, and also, much more importantly, which one has higher upside potential for its coin. Because that's the tech that everyone actually is excited about, number go up technology. I don't think anybody is really, just religiously using Hyperliquid as an exchange and they won't use Binance or vice versa. Everyone's very fluid about this. So that's what we are going to get into today, and let's go. So basically, Aster is this new competitor to Hyperliquid. It's a perpetual exchange that is quote unquote decentralized. It runs as a own, I believe, layer 2 chain in the same fashion. And just like Hyperliquid, you can deposit from multiple chains. In this case, you can do it from BNB, ETH, Arbitrum, Solana. The main collateral they use is USDT. So as long as you have USDT in any of these 4 chains, you deposit, you connect your wallet, and then you can trade. Same thing as Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid just does it with USDC. And how does this differ from Binance? Ultimately, it doesn't really. So let's go back to the Hyperliquid example. What has made Hyperliquid so popular and so successful? The interface is smooth, yes. The liquidity is very deep, yes. But is it more smooth or deeper than Binance? It's not. Is it much more decentralized than Binance? Sure, in a sense, but it's nowhere close to the level of decentralization like a true AMM type level of swap, like Uniswap, where there is literally nobody that can shut down the smart contracts and nobody can vote to delist any markets, etc. So I would say Hyperliquid, and so do all other Dexes, are much more like centralized exchanges with less friction to onboard and basically no KYC. And that's the biggest offer that I see in these perpetual exchanges. Hyperliquid, Aster, Lighter, Avantis, Ajax, whatever, like 10 others. The reason why Hyperliquid got so big is because number go up technology. They did a huge airdrop and everyone got very happy. And because they kept the prices quite high for their token, people that continue to trade on the platform are getting more and more points, and they are expecting to earn more and more tokens later on in future seasons. Also, of course, the platform has to be smooth, which they are. Props to them. And The other point is they have been heavily pushing their ecosystem with Hyper EVM, with their spot listings, and these have been doing quite well. So it kind of all feeds together. Now, Aster can do the exact same thing. This is why a lot of people are comparing the two, especially with that BNB and Binance backing. Can Aster start to launch multiple spot listings on their DEX and just have them go very quickly onto Binance Alpha, Binance Perps? Of course, it's going to be a very easy route. I'm going to show you a much clearer side-by-side similarity to 2021, where they were able to make PancakeSwap very quickly catch up to Uniswap. If you think about that example, it's very similar Playbook. Okay, so let's go back to the point of this video, which is Aster price at current level compared to Hyperliquid. Which one has higher upside? So I don't think it matters that much which exchange is smoother. If you're just looking to trade, Hyperliquid by far is way smoother, way deeper liquidity, way easier to trade on Aster than on Aster by far. I've tried both, night and day difference. So there's no question there. However, Hyperliquid is at 14 billion market cap. Aster is at 3 billion. Very simply put, in an altcoin season, in a bull run, lower market cap equals higher potential. This is easy as it gets. This is why a lot of people have been saying that comparing the market cap of Aster versus Hyperliquid for circulating market cap, we are looking at a 4 to 5x in terms of which market cap that you look at for Hyperliquid's reason high. So I think this is pushing it. I don't think Aster can really, flip Hyperliquid per se, because mostly because Hyperliquid itself is too expensive at these valuations. I wouldn't buy Hyperliquid here. I might buy Aster if it drops a little bit more, but not at the current price either. Okay, so but yeah, I do think Aster has higher upside than Hyperliquid for the first reason of its much lower market cap. Second is, why is Aster even so popular, and why did this come out of the scene out of nowhere? I have covered this project very slightly before. I have seen it when I was farming for Perp Dex airdrops. So if you saw this live stream of mine from June, best altcoin opportunities to watch this summer, the last segment was Hyperliquid competitors. So in here, I had the same analysis. I was not bullish on Hyperliquid. I don't want to buy Hyperliquid, but the Perp Dex narrative clearly is strong, and a lot of teams will want to replicate the success of Hyperliquid by introducing large airdrops. The two that I was looking at was Aster and Lighter. And it was very interesting. The one thing that caught my eye for Aster was that Aster was the only project that was featured on CoinMarketCap's CMC launch tab, if you see here. So CoinMarketCap is owned by Binance, and they made this page, this like CoinMarketCap launchpad, exclusively to promote Aster. I found that to be pretty weird. Hindsight 2020, I probably should have taken this hint in how much Binance wanted to push this and really farm this more, but instead I was farming Lighter more aggressively. But yeah, I have seen this project before. And where was I? Yeah, so Aster, Lighter, the two closest competitors to Hyperliquid, following the exact same playbook for issuing a large airdrop for traders. So obviously, if you want some other alpha that's related, I am currently trading the most heavily on Lighter. I have my World Liberty 5 position. I have Aster position that I want to trade to buy the dip on, all using Lighter. And this is, in my opinion, the place to trade for Perp Dexes if you want to farm an airdrop coming up. I don't have anything to show here. If you are trading anything, I think this is the place to trade right now. Okay, so And if you want a little bit more in-depth about how to farm for these, you can check out this live stream from June. Okay, so back to the comparison of Aster to Hyperliquid and their upside potentials. Now that Aster is in the market, and it is decently high market cap, starting from basically nothing to 3 billion circulating, 16 billion FTV. It's not a small project anymore. What has to happen next? Well, we have to look at who are the stakeholders of Aster and really why was this project even so successful so far this week, and what's the reason that they continue to push this? So unlike other projects launched by different teams and different VCs, those scenarios, the teams, the VCs, the investors, the KOLs, they will want to dump. In this case, nobody is an investor in Aster. The only investor here are, well, the team, which were acquired by APX. So APX Finance is a Binance, a BNB chain exclusive DeFi project, and the only investor in them is Binance Labs, Easy Labs, which is Binance Labs. So Binance is the exclusive party that has all the interest in this. So you got to think in terms of Binance. Does Binance need to pump a coin and then dump it? They really don't. I mean, they have infinite money. You can think of it this way. In crypto, they have infinite money. So then why do they do this? Why do they make a coin that does something like this and directly draw comparison to Hyperliquid? And why has CZ been tweeting nonstop about Aster? So we'll go over some of the tweets from CZ in a bit, but he's been mentioning Aster like once per day over the past week. The reason why here is Binance, the exchange itself, is wanting to take some market share, diminish the market share of Hyperliquid. So when you look at Binance versus Hyperliquid so far, there are many trackers for this. Currently, the highest percentage I've seen in terms of volume is 14%. So Hyperliquid is currently processing as high as 14% spot volume versus Binance, and as high as 18% for perps volume versus Binance. And Binance is not happy about that, of course. But if it's just a exchange, that's fine, because then Binance can just treat them as, Bybit, OKX, Coinbase, whatever, and that's fine. It's the same type of business. But in this case, because Hyperliquid really is pushing themselves as this decentralized, token, and somehow they're not an exchange coin. That's what's upsetting for Binance. So think about it this way. When you look on the CoinMarketCap rankings, BNB is all the way up here at 5. And when you think of BNB, what do you think today? Half of the people will think BNB is an exchange coin. The other half will think BNB chain, DeFi coin, they have their own ecosystem, so on and so forth. And this took 8 years now since the BNB ICO. Hyperliquid is barely like a year old. The coin isn't a year old, and the coin launched in November last year, I believe, and the platform itself is not even 3 years old. So now you're starting to hear like so-called institutional adoption of Hype token. You're starting to have people say, oh, Hype is going to get an ETF. It's going to go into treasuries. It's moving too fast into that store of value, blue chip protocol level, while fundamentally being an exchange coin. And that's what Binance doesn't like. Because looking at everything else here, everyone started as a layer one, as protocol, as infra first, not an exchange coin. So the fact that Hype is really not only getting this exchange volume share, but also pushing their token much more forward to say, since we are a perp Dex, not a perp centralized exchange, we are very different. And the Hype coin is unlike any other exchange coin. This is upsetting to Binance. So that's what BNB and Binance and CZ is trying to take away here. They want to diminish the magic of Hyperliquid by introducing a competitor that they can just very easily put into everyone's mindshare by having the price go up. So ultimately, people realize now that, hey, wait, hold on a second. Hyperliquid is not the only perp Dex coin. It's actually not special. Sure, they have a very good exchange. It's very smooth. You can trade every pair. You can trade from your own wallet. You don't have to KYC. All of that is really good. I trade on Hyperliquid. But why do so many people like Hyperliquid? It's not because of the exchange per se. Okay? Without the Hype coin itself, would I prefer to use Hyperliquid or Binance? I would use Binance. And if I were forced to hold my money somewhere, I would definitely hold it on Binance account instead of Hyperliquid's balance. I would do that. Not your keys, not your coins, yes, but in this case, Hyperliquid still has your keys when you deposit funds to it. It's not like it sits in my MetaMask or Rabby. So that's the magic that Binance is trying to take away from Hyperliquid by introducing a competitor that doesn't look anything special. Okay, this just looks like a copy-paste perp Dex. But as long as the market, as long as the Aster coin price goes up, people will start to migrate over. People will start to realize, okay, we're just here because of number go up technology, not because Hyperliquid is special. So that's what they want to accomplish. That's what I believe they want to accomplish. Okay, so if that's the case, what do they need to carry out next? Well, I want to draw your attention to Pancake versus Uniswap back in 2020 and 2021. So Uniswap is way better of an innovator than Pancake. Uniswap really came on the scene with the AMM, popularized it, and they had V2, V3, and now V4. Pancake was always behind. The Pancake interface was always laggy. They were very late to introduce new versions after Uniswap, have already introduced the same protocols 6 months later. But if you were here in 2020 and 2021, you will remember very vividly, like I did, where in 2020, a lot of people were saying, hey, Uniswap is the thing to kill all centralized exchanges. It was during kind of this period where Uni was finally introduced their coin. Everyone was saying, hey, like all the centralized exchange volume are going to get eaten up by Uniswap alone. And Binance did not like this. So what did they do? They simply had to copy the smart contract of Uniswap, issue it on their own chain, have it be fast-tracked to the Binance BNB chain ecosystem, and have all the new pairs, all the new tokens that are listed on Pancake also get the friendly treatment from Binance. So a lot of people start to trade on PancakeSwap. And look at what happened. By the early first half of 2021, Uni was kind of topping out, where Uni price was in this range. So after this first run up, in this range, Uni didn't make that much higher. It was from $19, $20 to about $43, $44. So about 2.2x more. But in that same period, Pancake outperformed. Pancake, of course, it had a correction, but from $10 went to $45 this wave. If you remember back here, this was BSC season. This really took away the magic of Uniswap, and Binance succeeded. Did Binance make money from Pancake? Of course they did. And they made money from BNB chain being popular and a lot of people issuing tokens on BNB chain. But if you were around during that period, you will remember it was no longer that if you wanted to launch a coin, you had to launch on Ethereum using Uniswap. People were going on PancakeSwap, on BNB chain, and then later on people went to Polygon, people went to different EVM chains. AVAX, whatever, all came later. This is the playbook that Pancake was able to achieve by not having superior technology, but just simply showing people another way and using the power of Binance to bring liquidity over, bring interest over, so that the narrative gets diluted and it's not special. And in this period, right, people, obviously they're going to want coins that go up more. As long as Pancake was going up faster than Uni, people were going to trade on Pancake. And people wanted to buy new coins on Pancake instead of on Uni. So the same thing that they're trying to repeat now is with Aster. That's what I believe, at least. What do they need to accomplish next? Well, from this moment on until the end of the cycle, whether that's 3 months, 6 months from now, what do they need to do? They need to have Aster price at least outperform Hyperliquid. So if Hyperliquid goes up 2x, Aster should at least go up 2x. And more importantly, they can't have Aster be one of these like what's it called? Insider driven, because everyone's trying to short it. Everyone's saying, hey, Hyperliquid is the people's coin. It's the organic coin. Aster is the pumped up coin. Okay. They can't have that narrative be true, which means if we see a significant correction that lasts multiple weeks, like the first one that we saw on Hyperliquid in the first half of 2025, it needs to bounce back way higher on Aster. So this is why I want to buy this on an extended dip. Currently, I don't hold any more Aster. Let's just go into my current position. So if you guys have been following my tweets, the first time that I tweeted it was actually back here, 17th. This was like iffy. I bought a little bit here in that September 17, like 10 p.m.-ish. I think it was here. Yeah, right around here. So 45 cents-ish. And then the following morning, if you follow my tweet thread here, the following morning, these were my buys on Aster and on their Dex itself. Around the 60, 67, 65 cents range, I added a bit more in this consolidation, and then I didn't add more. And throughout this period, I held, but as of this morning, I sold all my position on Aster. I want to buy back in later. So full disclosure to you now, okay? As far as I know, nobody has an insider allocation in this other than Binance. And everyone basically that has made money on this had to have bought in earlier at a cheaper price. And at the moment, I don't have any more. I made very good profits on this, but now I lean towards it going down in the short term instead of up. Okay. And I want to buy in at a lower price than current. I don't think currently at $2 is a good level anymore. I think it should come down a bit more. Okay. So let's see, where was I? So let's follow that train of thought. I'm jumping all over the place with my thoughts today. How do you get an entry in this? Two ways. So if you really want to get a short-term trade in, I would use Fibonacci retracements to find potential entries. So I've tweeted about this in the thread as well here, where you can look at a Fib retracement level based on each swing low and swing high and see how big the dips usually get on this. But since this coin is only 6 days old, that's not going to give you very long-term correction targets. They're mostly going to be very aggressive targets. So that's only if you want to trade this for 1 to 2 weeks at a time. If you want to do that, then here's the analysis that I have seen, where this is analysis I did as well. So if you take the first swing low to swing high, so let's say from the beginning towards this 78 cents range, you see that it dipped down to 786. And then the following swing from this low to this high was between 0.5 Fib to 0.618 Fib. So that tells me, okay, shorter dip 786, more extended dip on a 4-hour time frame. You see the longest that you can zoom out is about 4 hours. So a 4-hour dip can get as low as 0.5 fib. So then you take swing low to swing high, depending on where the next swing high will be. It may as well be here around that $2.14 range, or if it pushes a little bit further, you just keep adjusting it up. But wherever it might be, if you want to trade on a 1 to 2 week basis, you can look at 1 hour to 4 hour time frame and try to buy at the 0.5 fib, which is currently $1.70. Okay, that's the first level that I would feel okay buying. But remember, this is only a 1 hour to 4 hour chart. When you zoom out just a little bit more, you look at a daily time frame, there hasn't been any daily dip. There has been one red daily candle. You can't even really say this is a dip. So I think it's more likely that we get a extended dip soon, just like any other coin with a heavily controlled supply, even on Hyperliquid, where these kind of dip lasted multiple weeks. Okay, so in that case, you really need to zoom out to the daily time frame, and let's say we take the swing low here and swing high, and on the daily, you first of all want multiple red candles, and you want the dip to extend further than the 0.5 fib. So looking at the next, you can't even see these candles because they're such short term, but that's at $1.60 and $1.47. So if we can get into this range, especially once it trades in multiple days in this range, then I will feel comfortable to say, okay, like maybe I can buy a position to hold for multiple months. So you got to be very careful if you're trading this. One thing that you absolutely shouldn't do is to go short. Don't short a coin like this. It's crazy. You're asking for financial suicide if you choose to short this, because the whole reason why this coin is able to pump so much is because during the initial phase of this run up, it only traded on their own order book on this exchange alone, and they control their order book. So don't bet against the house when you're trading their coin. That's ridiculous. Bitcoin can make a pump at any moment, and we are in altcoin season because Bitcoin dominance is going down, so don't short it. If you think price is high right now, just stay out and wait to buy a dip. Or if you absolutely hate it, then just ignore it, but don't take the opposite side to short it. That's a terrible idea. Okay, back to the more fundamental side. Let's look at what CZ has been saying about this coin so far. Why so many people have been saying that CZ is all in on this, and why I really believe that they're trying to replicate the success of Cake. So if you are familiar with CZ's tweets, he doesn't tweet about any new coins, any tickers. The main tickers that he shows are BNB and Bitcoin. He doesn't even show ETH. And he has tweeted about Cake in 2020, 21 a lot. And in this cycle, I believe he tweeted twice about, what's it called? Mubarak, the meme. That's right after they did the huge deal with the UAE government. So even that, he only showed like a meme profile photo. Okay, he didn't show any charts, didn't show any comparisons. But this week alone, okay, so he first tweeted about Aster with a price chart when they launched back here. And then this is the first time that he ever tweeted an altcoin chart. You can look at all the media on his page. It's pretty nuts. And then he kept going. So second time that Aster became the biggest USDT holder on BNB chain. Okay, this is a fundamental post. And he was talking about Aster is not BNB chain exclusive. He was talking about, okay, he is a KOL. He's actually engaging with people when people call him out for shilling Aster, he's like, yeah, I'm shilling Aster. I'm a KOL for it. Here is actually really funny. So Aster created this 300x leverage listing for Hyperliquid as a dig at Hyperliquid to say, hey, look, if you want to take a shot at Hyperliquid, you can come to the Aster side and be on our team. And read this tweet, okay? Aster cracks me up, leverage me fully, pun intended, well played. What he means here is not the 300x leverage on hype. Obviously, he's not trading 300x with leverage. What he's saying here is the Aster team leveraged CZ's brand and leveraged CZ's tweets and his personal vendetta and like personal goals against Hyperliquid. So by having a dig at Hyperliquid, by making this post, think about what the Hyperliquid, think about Jeff from Hyperliquid is thinking. Oh my God, like there's this competitor who wants to short our coin with 300x leverage. And then CZ likes it. CZ is like, reads this post and CZ is like, okay, nice. Like he genuinely agrees. He's like, hey, look, I don't like Hyperliquid and I'm unapologetically public about it. That's what he's saying here. So usually he doesn't act this way. But the fact that he's doing this is getting people very interested in what they want to do next. Because ultimately, like, this is a Binance project. And Binance has all the levers to pull in the market. So with all the fundamental goal that I have laid out earlier, you start to see the bigger picture. This is kind of fake news. So CZ, this is an old clip from an older interview that he did where he says that even though he doesn't work at Binance, he wants to focus on the decentralized ecosystem. This is actually him referring to BNB chain and not Aster Dex alone. Just putting it out there if you see this clip. And then some other point. Yeah, this is kind of a good summary from Digits outlining why Aster team is needing to do this to show that it's all dependent on number go up for perp Dex to be successful. And here is an interesting point. So a lot of people are saying, hey, look, Aster has so much supply that's cornered by the team. Yes, this is all public. You can go on Arkham today, Arkham Intelligence, and you can look at group by entity, how much token supply is held by Aster in the team supply, community, airdrop, liquidity, reserves, treasury, all of that. And that accounts to 91.8%. And then 1% is held by Binance Wallet right now. So yes, it's heavily controlled by Binance. But it doesn't matter here. Why? Because there are no external investors. Does Binance need to dump this? They do not. They absolutely do not. If there are any other third party, like 5 other VCs that came into this, obviously those guys will want to take profit. But like I have shown earlier, the only stakeholders in this is Binance. So this is actually good because Binance really doesn't need to sell this at all. Their goal here is not to dump this coin to make money. Their goal here is to take away the market share of Hyperliquid so that Binance comes out on top and Hyperliquid's magic gets diminished and they can make way more money by eliminating this competitor of theirs. Because Binance does like tens of billions of volume per day. Not volume, like fees per day. So that goes to show you, okay? So some people are saying here that, okay, even if Binance themselves don't dump, they have a huge airdrop allocation. Okay, so look at this. This is tokenomics, which is formerly known as Token Unlocks app. So in here, you can find the tokenomics of Aster with 53% of the supply meant for the airdrop, where the first airdrop was 8.8%. That's already distributed. And from now on, by people trading on Aster, they will get Aster tokens as airdrop. So people are saying, hey, look, there's huge inflation As you can see, this going up. So more people will dump this. How do they control this, right? This is not sustainable. Here is the exact release schedule, linearly released to all the traders for 80 months. How, you know what this looks like? The closest? PancakeSwap farming. Let me bring you up to speed with what happened to PancakeSwap in 2020. Did you know that PancakeSwap originally had a uncapped token supply? If you work here in DeFi Summer, you would know this. So PancakeSwap, their whole first vampire attack on Uniswap was that if you provided liquidity on Pancake and you traded on Pancake, you got a huge amount of cake rewards by farming. And this was the case up until May 2022, when basically the entire bull market is confirmed to be ended. Initially, look here, before tokenomics 2.0, the platform had no cap on token supply, causing inflationary concerns for many. Literally uncapped. So this is the oldest trick in the book. You start off with very heavy inflation, a ton of rewards to vampire attack, and then later on you introduce a cap, and then you reduce the cap and you start burning and you start buying back the tokens. So PancakeSwap had this exact same playbook. You look at the current Pancake total supply is 450 million. I believe they even burnt more. So right now it's like 330 million or something. 388 after the burns. This was not always the case. Initially, from September 2022 until May 2020, September 2020 until May 2022, there was uncapped supply. The FDV of Pancake was literally infinite. And then by May 2022, they reduced the emissions and they put a cap at 750 million. And then they did 2 more emission cuts and token burns. And then they introduced the buyback flywheel from fees to achieve the current stage. And where did they learn this? Literally from the BNB tokenomics. BNB themselves, Binance themselves, invented this like transparent buyback supply schedule. Quarter by quarter right now, Binance buys back their own token supply, making it net deflationary. Whereas initially, Binance coin was all pre-minted. So that's why, even though this current high inflation, like 53% of the total supply, given to heavy reward traders on the platform, it doesn't look sustainable. But 6 months from now, 1 year from now, they are most likely going to stop this and start burning, just like what they did with Pancake. So that's why I don't think, FDV really makes sense. You got to look at circulating market cap. Okay, so putting this out there. That's why you see, like, literally there is no investor here. You see, ecosystem, community, treasury, team, liquidity, and listing. There is no investor because everything is just Binance and public airdrop traders. That's it. So exact same playbook as Pancake, which is why I think a lot of people are mid-curving this and saying, hey, look, heavy inflation, team is selling. No, it's public traders can sell. Like you and I, if we trade on this platform, we can sell, but Binance themselves, they don't really need to sell this at all. Okay. What else did I want to touch on? Yeah, that's basically it. So I have finished all the points that I want to cover. In short, in summary, Hyperliquid and Aster are both just perpetual exchange coins, which should be seen closer to centralized exchange coins instead of a DeFi coin like Uniswap or something that's fully smart contract based. And the reason why these are able to go up very quickly in the beginning is because they trade exclusively on their exchange, and the casino will be able to win very easily in the beginning. They will have extended drawdowns quite soon, as every coin does, because a lot of people are up a lot, early buyers. They will want to take profit. And if you want to trade this, you can look at my TA from earlier, where I took the fib retracement from the recent low to the recent high, swing low to swing high, and at least I want to target that $1.70 range, even for a very short-term trade. I think that's the highest buy point that I would target. Ideally, I wanted to go towards like 140 to 150 range and stay there for multiple days before I'm comfortable buying and holding for multiple months. But I think this is worth getting a bag of, especially if you're a fan of perp exchanges, because Binance is not done with this. Binance doesn't need to sell any of this. There are multiple catalysts coming up. So back to the Pancake example. Pancake first introduced uncapped token supply, very heavy farming to bring people over to provide liquidity to trade. And then what happened next? They started launching new coins on Pancake, and all of those new coins went on Binance very quickly. We should start to see that with new coins that make their listing first on Aster's spot market. And these should have a easier time to get on Binance, which means people are going to want to trade here and have whatever core holding they have here so they can ape the fastest. That's the same step that made PancakeSwap popular in 2020, 2021. Maybe they'll have some sort of launchpad or like ticker auctions like on Hyperliquid. And then they can introduce token buyback and burn from the revenue, just like Hyperliquid. And they can burn token supply that is heavily controlled by Binance, which Hyperliquid actually aren't able to do as much because Binance has infinite capital. And yeah, I think multiple catalysts. And obviously, ultimately, because this is a Binance exclusive, Binance basically owned project, they can get this listed everywhere. So if you know crypto enough, you know that all the exchanges underneath, they pretty much serve as liquidity routes to Binance. Maybe all the global exchanges, okay? I think the only exception here would be OKX. OKX is also very independent, but everything else, everything that's so-called like crypto native exchanges, underneath, it's very heavily driven by Binance liquidity. All the market makers, they do quotes with Binance order books. And the only exchanges that stand out are, the US native, Coinbase, Robinhood, and then maybe like Korean native, Upbits of the world. But the rest of it is all on Binance, which means if Binance really wants to push this coin, they can get it listed everywhere. Unlike Hyperliquid, which they don't really have that power. So yes, they can have the coin, trade as much as they want on their own exchange, but that is the main, that's not all the on-ramp. A lot of people only know how to use centralized exchanges. And Hyperliquid, even today, not listed on Binance, not listed on Coinbase, not on OKX, not on Kraken, not on Bithumb, not on Upbit. A lot of places don't want to list them. But Binance can get Aster listed everywhere. So a lot of catalysts coming up for Aster that I think are worth watching. And I think Binance will want to use all the catalysts available in order to, again, diminish the magic of Hyperliquid, which is ultimately their goal here. Okay, yeah, that's it. That's, I think, a good summary to end on. Yeah, as you can see here, like Aster is already coming down a little bit, 191, pretty nice. You guys should definitely follow me on X if you want to follow my current, trade updates on Aster, these things move way too quick. Like literally can't go live to cover all of this. But yeah, so far I've taken full profit from my Aster position. I want to buy back in low. Thank you guys for joining the live stream. Two things. Number one, check out our trading bots with our trading challenge portfolio with the link in the description and the tutorial. Right now is actually a really good time because the market is on a dip. So a lot of these bots are back at their entries again. You can find those same setups. And number two, definitely follow me on X at VirtualBacon0x, as I will be tweeting a lot more about my trades day to day on this. If I can find the latest one for you here. I'm probably going to make an update from this one here, where I'm going to lay out the next fib levels that I'll be targeting, as long as this does look like a significant pullback on Aster. So for these kinds of things, they play out, within 1 to 2 days. So you really need to get them in tweet format instead of on video. So follow me on X. That's it. Thank you guys for joining, and I will see you on the next video and next live stream.